Hey guys, it's Davin here at Brewbitz.com. As always, behind the camera we got James. Say hello, James. Today I thought we would brew up a beer called a Mexican Cerveza by Coopers. And this beer has been around for a long time. And really, Mexican Cervezas are probably one of the most popular styles of lager you're going to find around anywhere in the world. Think Corona, Desperados, Sol, and then that's what you're looking at with a Coopers Mexican Cerveza. So why don't we brew one up? What are we going to need? Well, let's start with a brewing bucket. We're going to need a spoon to stir everything with. We're going to need some of this. It's a creamish coloured powder, and this is called beer enhancer. You can use sugar, or you could use liquid malt extract. I tend to find beer enhancer works best with the Cerveza. Doesn't make it too heavy, keeps it nice and light, also keeps it nice and zingy and refreshing, but gives a little bit more body than if you just used sugar, because then it can be a little bit on the thin side. Okay, we're also going to need something to sterilise all our equipment, so we've got some steriliser. In my trial jar here, I've got a thermometer and a hydrometer, so we can do a bit of testing and make sure it's finished fermenting. We're going to need a siphon, a jug, and then, once we've finished brewing it, we're going to need to put it in something. And over here, I'm going to use, might as well keep it in the family, some Coopers beer bottles. Okay, now, I've also got a couple of ingredients hidden in the back here so that I can make it into a desperados. We've got some Mexican tequila. You make me happy. Sorry for the accent, but it does. It makes me happy. And I've also got some lime juice as well, so we can make a slightly limey version of it as well. Or you, if you want, you can use fresh limes. Right. Now we've got all that together, there's a couple of things I'm going to start by doing. Here in my sink, I'm going to get the sink filled with some hot water, because in this can is some very thick, what we call liquid malt extract, and it's really gloopy and thick, and to make it a little bit more runny, we warm it up, makes it a lot easier to get out of the can. And whilst that's filling up, I've already pre-filled my kettle to the brim with water, and I'm going to switch it on because I need 2 litres of boiling water. So on the sides of the can, if you look really closely under all the different languages, you'll see this little peel here. And if you peel it open, you'll find in lots and lots of different languages, and you're looking up over here, James, for our English, and it's got a load of instructions in there. They're not very complicated. They're actually pretty simple. So hopefully with this video we'll give you the extra information you need. So the red cap comes off. In here is a sachet of yeast. It looks like it's been stuck well down. Oh my goodness, it has. That's so you don't lose it. So be careful when taking that off. And it's going to be a little bit easier now if we remove the rest of this label. Gone. And into the hot water it goes, and just leave it there for about 5 to 10 minutes for it to warm up. So I've sterilised my fermenting bucket and my spoon, and the tin of liquid malt extract has been set in my warm water for quite some time. So now we need a tin opener. Good old fashioned tin opener. Round and round and round it goes, where it stops. And then what we can do is just pour that in. Right, now we're almost out to the end of the can. So I'll quickly stop it there. So we've still got quite a lot left in here. But what we now need to do is we need to take 2 litres of boiling water, and I've got a big jug. There we go. And normally, I pour a small amount into the tin and find my long spoon. Oh, of course, my long spoon's in here. I forget my head if it wasn't screwed on Sundays. Anyway, and then we get it in, we give it a good stir. The tin does heat up, so be careful. And then we're going to pour that in as well. But there's still some left at the sides. So with some more boiling water, in it goes. And just lift with the spoon, lift the water up and down. Until you get all the goop out. And then that goes in as well. Now, that has heated that up quite a bit, so I'm going to find a tea towel. Because I don't really want to scald my fingers. And that goes as well. So the rest of the 2 litres of boiling water goes in. We're going to give this a good stirring until all that liquid malt extract has combined with the water. So next we're going to add in our beer enhancer. And this is a mixture of brewing sugar and a powdered form of what was in the can called spray malt. This is a light spray malt in here and lots and lots of brewing sugar. And we need to give that a good stir as well and get all of that mixed in. I know it's lumpy at the moment, it does break down and it does stir in. Awesome, so that's now all folded in. You'll notice it does get a bit foamy. Right, back to me a second, James, because we now need to top this up with cold tap water. And if you know me, you'll know I've got my long extendable tap. And so we don't get it even more foamy, I'm just going to run it down the inside of the bucket. And we're going to take this up to a total of 23 litres. Now we've topped it up to 23 litres in total, we need to check the temperature. Now down here I've stuck on a LCD thermometer to make my life easier, and I can see it's between 20 and 22. If you don't have one of those, if you want to double check it, use a thermometer. So I know it's coming out at the right temperature, so it's now time to add our yeast. So the yeast is just going to be sprinkled on the top. Like so. And that will rehydrate and that will gradually get going and that will gradually start eating all of that lovely sweet sugar that's in the beer. So this now needs to go into a warm cupboard, and Coopers say it needs to be fermenting at 21 degrees for the next 7 to 10 days. So this is going to go into my warm cupboard now to sit at 21 degrees for the next 7 days. Our Mexican Cerveza has been brewing away now and it's pretty much finished fermenting. So I've taken a sample in my trial jar and the hydrometer is coming out about 1.010. So we know that it's ready to move on. So down here I have got a bucket, but not just any bucket. I've got a bucket with a tap in, and you'll see why that's going to come in useful later. And I've got my siphon. So I'm going to siphon the lager in here off a small amount of sediment at the bottom, which is going to make our lives a lot easier when we're bottoming. So a quick suck and get it flowing. It takes a bit of time to siphon the lager from the top bucket to the bottom bucket. But as you can see, I've put my top bucket on a slight angle, and this is so that the sediment at the bottom doesn't get disturbed and you're able to get more of the beer out. Now that we've got our lager or Mexican Cerveza in our second bucket and we've got rid of all the sediment, we're going to be looking at bottling. So I'm going to be using these plastic Coopers bottles with a screw cap, nice and easy. But the big question is, how do we make it fizzy? Well, that's where sugar comes in. Now, this is why I've siphoned it into the second bucket, because you could take a teaspoon of sugar and try and get it into that hole, but it's going to go everywhere. So instead, what I like to do is take the equivalent sugar, so a teaspoon of sugar per bottle, over the 23 litres, basically works out as 100 grams. So I've got 100 grams here of brewing sugar. You could use ordinary supermarket sugar. Now I'm just going to put that in and give it a good stir. Now those bubbles you've seen straight away are the yeast. The yeast have gone, because they've been a bit starving, because they've already eaten all the sugar, and the yeast have been introduced to that sugar. They go, oh, yummy, 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 yummy. And they fizzed it up. So we need now to get on and bottling. Now, if you've got a bucket like mine with the tap on, you can fit a little wand like this, and this is called a little bottler. Or if you're from Somerset like me, a little bottler. And all we simply do is turn the tap on. And down here is a little valve. We raise the bottle up, and it fills the bottle up from the bottom. And this means we don't get a really, really frothy head. Now I'll show you the other option in a moment, once I've filled this bottle up. Because when we get close to the top, we lower it down slightly to slow the flow. Once it gets to the top, we can lower it down beautifully like that. There you go. There's your first bottle. Now if you didn't have a little bottler, then we can go back to our trusty siphon. This time I've put a tap on the end, and we no longer need the sediment trap. So let me grab another bottle. And so the way we work on this one goes all the way in, and you can tuck it over so it doesn't fall out using the handle. And this end we give a good suck. And we take our bottle all the way down. And you're going to try and send the beer down the side of the bottle, so again you don't end up with it frothing up. It takes a moment, and when we get to about here, we're going to stop filling it up. You can turn the tap off slightly to slow it down. And there you go. There's our second bottle. I've got quite a few more to do, so I'm going to go back to using my little bottling wand, because I find it a lot easier and a lot quicker. Right, let's get all these into bottles. It takes a little bit of time, but I've got all my bottles filled up. So some of them I'm going to keep straight as Mexican Cerveza. Some of them I'm going to add some lime to, and some of them I'm going to add some tequila to. So I've done a little bit of testing, and to work out how much of each I need to add. So on the lime juice one, it's going to be about a teaspoon per bottle, so 5 ml per bottle. And I've done some testing on the tequila ones as well. And I think we need to add about 10 ml per bottle. So, easiest way I can do this, if I was doing this bulk, then I would have probably added the tequila straight into the bucket when we added that sugar. So, we got 10 ml into the bottles. Simple and easy as that. I'm using a syringe, or you might want to use a teaspoon and a little funnel. You just got to remember which ones you've added the 10 ml to. And then once we've added our tequila, you simply screw on the caps. And for the lime juice, I'm using just a little pot of lime juice here. If you want to, you can press your fresh limes. And again, after a load of testing, I've worked it out. We're going to need 5 ml per bottle. Any more than that, it seems to be a bit too zingy. Any less, and you can't really taste the lime. So I've added my tequila and my lime to my bottles, and I've put the caps on. These guys have just been straightforward, so easy as that. That's just your straight Mexican Cerveza. These are the ones with lime in. So now I've put the lime in, I'm just going to give them a little shake. We need to do that with each of the bottles. And I need to do the same with the tequila ones. And I'm going to need to make some pretty little bottles for them, little labels for the bottles so that we know what's in them. But for now, so that I don't accidentally forget, one's going to have tequila, one's going to have L, and one's going to be MC, Mexican Cerveza. Simple as that. And I'm going to do that with all the bottles until I've labelled them up. So these guys now need to go back into my warm cupboard for about a week so that they can, the yeast inside that beer can start munching away and eat all that sugar and turn it to lovely fizzy carbon dioxide so that we create a lovely fizzy lager. Then that's going to come out of my warm cupboard and go somewhere nice and cool for about 2 to 4 weeks. And in those 2 to 4 weeks, this is going to clear beautifully. And you're going to find there's going to be a little bit of sediment down at the bottom. So when we come to drink these, we pop them in the fridge, get them nice and cool, and then when we pop one open and pour it into a glass, you can do a long, slow, gentle pour so as not to disturb the sediment in the bottom. If you glass, you're going to end up with a hazy lager. And in this case, I don't think we want a hazy lager, we want a lovely, clear Mexican Cerveza. So, just to recap, I'm going to label all these up so I know what's in them, and then they're going to go into my warm cupboard for about a week for the secondary fermentation to occur, and then into my cool garage where they're going to sit for about another 2 to 4 weeks to bottle condition and start to clear, and then once they're clear we can get drinking them. So, a simple Mexican Cerveza by Coopers that's been around for a very, very, very long time. Easy to make, really quick, and you can zhuzh it up with a bit of tequila, with a bit of lime. Why not even do a tequila and lime one? Why not? It's up to you. Anyway, that's as easy as it can be to make a lager at home. And, well, if you have a go at making this, down in the comments below, let me know what you've done. If you need any help, any guidance, if you've got any questions, put them in the comments below and we'll do our best to get back to you as quickly as we can, giving you some help, tips, guidance, whatever you may want. Anyway, for me, for now, there was a little bit left that I couldn't get quite into a bottle, so I'm going to enjoy a bit of Mexican Cerveza. Cheers and happy brewing!